It gaff till a gaff. It gaff till a gaff. I'm illy with the till a gaff. Illy with the till a gaff. Knit gaff, knit gaff. Knit gaff, knit gaff. I'm illy with the till a gaff. I don't give a fuck with the till a gaff. We ain't got no time for you haters. I do not respect anybody sitting behind a keyboard trying to belittle anybody, making them feel bad about themselves. You know that. Hello and welcome again to Freethinking. This is the Grand Go to Papa Lifestyle podcast. It's a podcast for free thinkers. It's a podcast for I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper here. Not very good, is it? It's a podcast for free thinkers, self-improvement devotees, business people, hip-hop heads, music lovers, martial arts enthusiasts, and general cool motherfuckers. You wouldn't believe I need a piece of paper to remember that list, but we do this infrequently, so I guess I do. Talking about infrequently in the style of this podcast, this is just a head top. I'm gonna tell you what it is. Today is like the second or third day of the controversy here. I'm gonna say here, I live in Spain, but in the UK, over comments made by Boris Johnson in his newspaper article, basically saying, with a throwaway rude quip that women who wear the burqa look like letterboxes or armed robbers. Now, that is a whole nother podcast, and I ain't doing that shit right now. That statement in itself, and why it's so wrong. The other whole nother podcast that I'm not going to do right now is the fact that even though he made that throwaway, rude and very dangerous statement, the actual point of the article was that unlike other European countries, we should not ban the burqa, and people should be allowed to dress as they feel like and have the liberty to express themselves religiously. That's another side of the discussion, and that's a whole nother podcast that I'm not going to make. So how am I getting 1 minute 40 seconds into this without even telling you what we're talking about? Well, the point that annoyed the shit out of me was that there's one little quote that came up, and it was basically this quote of in the defense of Boris Johnson, oh, that's just Boris. And that whole concept, that whole idea of allowing people's bad behavior because that's just how they are, was the point that stuck in my head that I thought I wanted to talk about today. So let's see if I can do this in 7 minutes, even though I've already wasted 2. So even if I do 7 minutes, it's going to be 9. Let's get straight into that point. Should we allow people's behavior based on the fact that that's just the way they are? Okay, so as I said, I'm not going to get into all the other parts of the discussion. It was just this quote. Oh, that's just Boris Johnson. You know what he's like. And, it just rang a bell in my head. I guess it touched a nerve. And it's because, I remember was lots of things about it, that touch a nerve. But, the general point is, again, should we just allow people to behave badly because that's just their personality? And as an extremist, a self-proclaimed complete and utter extremist, I haven't discussed this yet. I'll try and make a whole podcast on it another time. I look at any issue, any circumstance, any idea, and then I take it to its potential extreme, not because it's going to end up there, but because if you continue down that road, it potentially could. It's really simple for me. It's like saying, yeah, I'm going to get in a car and I'm in Watford. I'm going to drive north on the M1. You may stop halfway, but you know that you could potentially end, past Birmingham or end up in Manchester, right? So, my point is that's where if you continue on this road, it ends, or it could potentially end. And it's worthwhile knowing that, particularly like in things like fights. This is a great thing. Again, as a lifelong martial artist, people can do something to you and you jump to the end of it and you think, where this could end? This could end up with somebody getting hurt, and all I have to do is just turn around and walk away. Do you know what I mean? And you take it from that perspective because your ability, the potential of their ability or what they might have beholding. So you kind of make those kind of decisions. So, as a self-proclaimed extremist, I really want to know where this concept of, that's just the way he is going to end. Now, I'll be honest with you, it's amongst the most annoying phrases that human beings ever utter. To me, it annoys the absolute fuck out. I mean, I think I'm going to start here. I was going to go here, but I think I will start here. because it's related but not directly. I remember very well when I was a young man in school, secondary school, and I was a very studious child. I enjoyed studying. I enjoyed school, right? That's not for everybody. That's like another whole different debate. You know, I'm not a big believer in academics. I just happen to be someone who enjoys it. It was lucky for me that the school system was set out that way, so I enjoyed it, but I fully understand all the very valid reasons why lots of other people didn't, and the system didn't work for them. So what would happen is the children who the structure of the schooling system didn't work for, were not happy to be sat there and working past their days in that way. They'd act out, they'd behave badly because they were frankly bored as fuck, right? So what would happen is the teachers would placate them. They'd walk into the room knowing that, okay, Johnny and PT, I don't think they put it in my perspective as, this system doesn't work for them. Those are bad students, so if I can't kick them out of my class all the time, I'm just going to placate them and try and keep them quiet and whatever. And then, Robbie and Tony are great students. They love the academic system, so this is great. They're my students who I can really focus my teaching on. Fine, but then here was one thing I realized was happening over and over again. I didn't go to a particularly good school by anybody's definition, to be honest with you. That's a whole nother conversation again. But what would happen is this. I never forgot this. The one day that Johnny and Petey, who didn't like the school academic system, decided to not act out, talk, make noise, make jokes, throw paper at each other, whatever bad behavior they were doing, whatever they decided not to do that, the teacher would give them such high praise. Oh, you were so good today. It's fantastic. Or God forbid they actually did some of the work. If there's any work presented in front of them that they either found interesting at last, the way it was presented, or they just decided to do it that day, they would get really, really high praise. And then what would happen is that, us studious people, in light of the fact that this child who wasn't normally studious had decided today to actually do some work, we would get penalized. Like, oh, your work isn't very good. Look at Johnny, he's finally doing some work today. And God forbid, it was one of the days when I was feeling boisterous and I would be like, okay, I want to make a joke today or blah, 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 blah. The teacher would jump up and down on me like a fucking ton of bricks. And I'd be like, well, what the fuck? That kid's down the table dancing around singing fucking The Lion Sleeps Tonight. And you ain't telling him shit because he hasn't started a fight or stabbed anybody. And yeah, I've just made a joke with my friend or threw a piece of paper at a girl I liked to get her attention. And now and I'm going to jump up and down, literally, detention, or you're going to the headmaster's office. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's over there. We have the mobile phones, but this guy's over there playing fucking music on his Walkman. And I make a joke with my friend, then all of a sudden, I'm getting a detention. But what it was the basic concept of, oh well, that's just the way he is. He's a bad kid. He's not studious, so I don't have to, hold him accountable to the same rules as I hold you guys to. You guys are studious, so you get held accountable to one set of rules. He's not studious, so he gets accountable by a different set. So at a very young age, I remember thinking just how wrong that was. And then we bring it into the adult life. And now here's the thing. I'm going to be a hypocrite because everybody has a definition of themselves, right? We all know how we see ourselves and what we think we are. Yet somehow, even though I'm accepting completely that concept, one of the statements I hate the most, you set me absolutely mad, is, I'm the kind of person that, because you used to hear this, like, yeah, I'm the kind of person that don't take no rubbish from nobody. Or I'm the kind of person that, and whatever it is would be like a kind of, maybe a positive self-image for that person, but usually some kind of a negative after statement. So I used to always think to myself, okay, that's cool. You're the kind of person that don't let nobody cheat you out of no money, or don't pay anybody a penny over what you think the value should be. Whatever it is that you're about to do that's negative, you've already tried to soften it and make it acceptable by saying, well, that's just the kind of person you are. So I thought to myself, well then, what about the kind of person who said, well, I'm just the kind of person who likes to stab people in the head because I get a kick out of it. Or I'm the kind of person who likes to kidnap people and hold them as prisoners in my dungeon. I mean, and it's kind of like that, you could see like a kind of League of Gentlemen, Mighty Boosh type comedy sketch where someone comes in with that whole, that's my first 7 minutes, I'm the kind of person that, and says some bullshit like that. Someone else says, oh, I'm the kind of person that, likes to chop off people's fingers and put them into my sandwiches. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you can't defend your bad behavior by saying, well, that's just the kind of person I am. That's just the kind of motherfucker I am. Well, no. And the reason you can't do that is because by society, if we're going to live together, if we're going to live together, we have to have some kind of, for want of a better word, baseline standards of what's acceptability. So the point I'm making is the kind of person you are is kind of wholly irrelevant. Now, here's the thing. I've got to be very careful in what I'm saying. I don't want this to be misunderstood. I absolutely love personalities, and I love eccentric personalities. The one that always springs to mind for me is that I watch BBC Business News Live, and there's a guy, I think he's Australian, and he's one of the presenters. I googled him once because he's just so enigmatic, and he basically presents like he's drunk. Now, I'm pretty damn sure he's not drunk, but he's, all arms and legs, and, he's that, and he's very kind of, Milton, forthright, right, five. So he's like, but isn't that the reason why Amazon's shares have double shown? Because, and he just got this really kind of, he just reminds me of one of my ex-business partners when he was drunk, but I'm sure he's stone cold sober, and it's just his presenting style. Now, here's the thing. I absolutely love that, and I think people's personalities and individuality should be celebrated as what makes this world so beautiful and colourful and interesting. But like I said, the point is we have to draw some lines in the sand, because if somebody's personality is kidnapping, abusing kids, and we as a society don't want that, we don't have to live around that, we don't have to live with the threat of that and the hurt and the pain and the trauma of the results of that, then we have to say that although you're the kind of person that likes to kidnap and abuse kids, we're not gonna give you a pass on that. We're not gonna go, that's just the kind of guy you are. So cool, you do you, son. Yo, mine will be home at 3. Yeah, I shouldn't even joke about it. I'll fucking kill you. You know what I mean? That's not like, figurative. I'll fucking kill you. Do you know what I mean? So, but the point I'm making is, we can't just give people a pass based on, the kind of person they are. We have standards that we have to adhere to, and that's, the only common sense thing that came out of the debate that's been raging on, because obviously it's politics, right? It's lots of politicians stand on the soapboxes trying to use, something that's basically been, I'm gonna say misquoted, but, use it for other means than it really, really, really should have been focused on. That's why I don't fuck with politics, man. Tarde poili. And that's why we don't fucking with politics. I don't know, is that how the line goes? Something like that anyway. You know what I mean? But that's why I don't mess with politics, because it's just, it's just a game where everything is used for advantage and nothing's real. You know what I mean? So as I said, I couldn't get back into what's really real about that statement, why it's really wrong, and what probably should be done, but that's another conversation. I can't be asked to do that right now. I just wanted to really focus on this point, this whole, that's just Boris. So, another example, Harvey Weinstein. Somebody else I hope they throw the fucking key away from. In fact, I hope they give Harvey Weinstein a cell with Bill Cosby and throw the fucking key away. Do you know what I mean? Maybe give Bill, I don't know. I don't want to go too far as saying give Bill, no, but they're both rapists, fuck it. Just put them in a cell underneath the fucking river and throw the fucking key away. Point I'm making is this, and this is a real one, right? I've known a lot of people, like a lot of men, who, subtly molest women. Comes and, hey, how are you? Touch your tits. Oh, tweak, tweak, tweak. Do you know what I mean? Now, some women laugh. He's so funny. Another woman be like, did that motherfucker just touch my tits? Do you know what I mean? They come and go, oh, look at your bum. Oh, you got a big bum. Pat, pat, pat. Do you know what I mean? And some women be like, oh, he's such a card. Another woman be like, did that motherfucker just touch my bum? And the point I'm making is that, that's the guy, people like that build an image, a persona around, well, that's the kind of guy I am. I'm laughy, I'm jokey, I'm a bit Benny Hill, touch little girls, I touch women's tits, tweak their nipples a bit. It's all good fun. Well, yeah, for you it may well be. But as I said, if you're going to draw a line in the sand, now my line in the sand is my personal space. And if not my personal space, I use the Wing Chun rule, basically, as if I outstretch my arm from basically the palm, from my shoulder to my palm is my personal space. Now, obviously, that doesn't always work. For example, on a crowded tube train, or a train, I know I'm going to be shoulder to shoulder with people. But at the end of the day, if I'm in an area where there is a lot of space around me, I do not want you anywhere from where the end of my palm can stretch to my shoulder unless I invite you into that space. There's lots of space elsewhere. Fucking go over there if I'm standing here first. If you really want to be here, ask me to move and I will take 2 steps to the left and you still stay out my personal space. So my point is, all these people trying to be cards and rakes, and thinking it's funny, don't understand that you don't get a pass to invade a woman's personal space. Nevertheless, even much, much worse, touch her body, which is completely fucking sacred and sovereign to her, and just get a free pass because that's just the kind of guy you are. You're the kind of guy that likes to touch girls' tits and tap their bottoms, and Donald Trump's the kind of guy who likes to use his power to walk up and grab women by their pussy. And none of that's fucking acceptable, because we draw a line in the sand, or we fucking should, that says a human being's body is sovereign. They get to choose what the fuck happens with their body, because if you don't have that, then you're basically taking away free will and the sovereignty of human rights. And if you've taken away the sovereignty of human rights, then you're living in a world of slavery to whoever the fuck has sovereign power over your body or your decisions. So frankly, no, you don't get to be just the kind of guy who likes to touch girls on the ass. Do you know what I mean? And here's the thing: if you are the kind of guy that likes to touch girls in the ass, then you need to do some fucking recon. You know what I mean? Because this is what I'm trying to say. I ain't trying to wrong people. If you're the kind of guy who thinks that shit's funny, then you need to do some recon to make sure that the people you're doing that shit to find it fun. Do you know what I mean? You need to take some time and effort into making sure that you're working in your circle of people. Like for example, people who like to wife swap. You don't just roll up in somebody's house, go for a coffee, go upstairs and fuck their wife. No, you you go to a community of people who are into wife swapping, and then you sit down and you go, hey, I'm a wife swapper, you're a wife swapper. Is this swap going to work? Are we all going to be happy with doing this? Okay, let's do this. I'm assuming, by the way. And it's like every time I fucking turn on this microphone and do a podcast, all I'm thinking is my wife's gonna fucking kill me. So no, we're not into wife swapping. I'm just trying to give an example. Do you know what I mean? You don't get to just roll up on people and do what the fuck you want because that's the kind of guy you are and you think it's cool. You have to find out the kind of person they are and what they think is cool if it's gonna affect them. Do you know what I mean? Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to say you should supplicate to everybody. I'm just talking about people's rights to not be abused and mistreated. And the real point I kind of think I want to get to, because I've been rabbiting on a bit, although I'm enjoying this, is, this attitude penalizes the rest of us. This whole, that's just the kind of guy he is, actually isn't just a free card for the person we're talking about. It's actually a penalization for the rest of us, because for those of us who don't get to say, that's the kind of guy I am, we have to play by the rules. Do you know what I mean? And almost by direct definition, if the rest of us didn't play by the rules, then that person wouldn't be an exception to the rule and wouldn't be able to say, well, that's just the kind of guy I am, because we'd all be doing it. So, my point is, why are we fucking allowing these people to hold this particular position of, power isn't really the word, but this position to, do something against the rules and standard of society that the rest of us have to play by? There is no reason. The answer is fucking no. Do you know what I mean? But I know that we live in a world where that's standard, based on your class, religion, social media presence, etc., etc. And that's why, that's the funny thing about it. That every time somebody who's famous, now back to the cult of celebrity, every time somebody who's any way remotely famous or has a following of any kind, like Boris Johnson has a great following amongst the Conservative Party, and always has and probably always will. People always run up. There's always someone whose defense is, well, that's just the kind of guy he is. But like I said, if it's, I ain't trying to jump into it, but people weren't very happy about Charlie Sheen's behaviour for a while. And lots of people said, well, that's just the kind of guy he is. But we can't give people that free card, because the extremist in me tells me that people's behaviour grows based on what they're allowed to do and are successful at. We see this in serial killers. A lot of these serial killers start off by killing and mutilating animals. and then they'll move on to bigger animals or small animals to bigger animals, to their first human victim, to their first, you know what I mean, whatever. You know what I mean? And their behavior grows based on what they get away with. So, like I said, Mr. Ha ha ha, he, aren't I a card? I like to tweet women's titties and grab them by the pussy. You know, is not necessarily because it might not be in his nature, but the extreme end of that behavior, the road he's on, is a serious abuser of women who do not want their personal space invaded by someone touching them and feeling them up, grabbing their pussies and or pulling down their knickers, finger fucking them, and then penetrating them. You know what I mean? The way this ends is a serial rapist. So, you know, as I said, not always. I'm talking about the extreme, you know, where that road ends if you allow that person to travel up the road without checking them. And that's why you have to check people. So, at the end of the day, you know, this is really what it's about. I don't believe in, oh, that's just the kind of guy he is. I believe in, yo, you overstepped the mark. I'm checking you. Back the fuck up on whatever it is. If it's somebody makes a statement which is dangerous, you know, like the one I started off with Boris Johnson, then someone needs to step up and check him. Yeah. I know you think you funny, motherfucker, but hear what? This is why that's a dumb fucking thing to say. If you wanted to make a point about, you know, why the UK should not ban the burqa, make that point. But you know, you want to soften the blow to your hardliners by also being rude and da. But that breed of Islamophobia isn't going to help anybody. So yo, back the fuck up on that. Do you know what I mean? And we have to check people. But this whole, that's just the kind of guy I am, that's just the kind of girl she is, that's just the kind of person he is, that's the kind of artist he is, that's the kind of crackhead he is, that's just the kind of mass murderer he is. Nah. So anyway, it's just off the head, so it's probably a bit rambly, and probably because I'm passionate about it, maybe a little bit profane today. But, you know, as I said, I look at this thing from the extremist perspective, and I know where this ends up. You know, and I know that you cannot just give people a free pass. It's super important that we check people. The most important people in my life are the people who check me. The ones who say, nah, bro. No, that's wrong. Fuck that. Where the fuck you going with that? Where did you come from with that? What the hell do you think you're doing? Why, you know what I mean? What makes you think that was right to do? You know what I mean? Or I know you think that's right to do, but let me tell you why that shit's wrong and you're fucked up all the way, and you need to you need to do something about it and repent, and you know, whatever it is. The most important people in my life are the people who check me. The most important people in your life should be the people who check you, because they're the ones who stop us from ever having to go anywhere and say, well, that's the kind of guy I am, when the statement that's going to follow that is going to be proof that we're an asshole. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't see too many 7-minute ones going on at the moment, man. I'm just gonna beat 21. But listen, if you like, subscribe, share, hit that GoFundMe, donate, so we can keep just doing this and grow this into a bigger project. Comment, please, get involved. Let us know what you think about what I got to say. Make some comments, and if I'm fucking up and I'm all the way wrong, please be that person to check me, tell me that I'm wrong, and show me where I should be at on this issue. Thank you for listening. GGP, this is the Lifestyle Freethinking channel, and I'm out. It gaff till a gaff. It gaff till a gaff. I'm illy with the dilly gaff. Illy with the dilly gaff. Knit gaff, knit gaff. Knit gaff. I'm in with the dilly gaff. I don't give a fuck with the dilly gaff. We ain't got no time for you haters. I do not respect anybody sitting behind a keyboard trying to belittle anybody, making them feel bad about themselves. You know.